One person, no employees, and a contract that pays out every single month 4 years. That's the quiet engine behind these 10 businesses. Some of them look like nothing more than a guy with a truck, but the math behind the truck can look like a small law firm's revenue. Stick with me, because the recurring contracts on this list are doing more work than any employee ever could. I'm Chris, and this is Boring Money with Chris. I collect the unglamorous businesses nobody brags about at parties, because those are usually the ones actually printing money. Today's 10 all share one trick: almost no payroll and a contract that renews itself. One of these 10 runs on a single signature that quietly generates over $2 million a year. Number 1 never needs a second employee. Number 10, mailbox installation for HOAs. Homeowners associations need every mailbox on a street to match, and when one gets crumpled by a snowplow, they don't call a handyman. They call a contractor with a standing agreement. That's the real business here, not the install, but the multi-year service contract covering an entire subdivision. Startup cost sits low, often under $15,000 for a truck, post-hole tools, and a starter inventory of approved mailbox models. One owner in Ohio described locking down annual contracts with 6 different HOAs, covering close to 2,000 mailboxes combined, billed as a flat yearly maintenance fee, whether or not anything breaks that year. AI scheduling tools now route repair requests automatically, so one installer handles what used to take a small crew. Profit margins on the install itself run modest, but the maintenance contract is where the real money sits. Steady, boring, and renewed every January like clockwork. Number 9, Mobile Pet Grooming. A van pulls into a driveway, a dog gets a bath and a haircut without ever leaving its own yard, and the owner books the same slot again in 6 weeks. That rebooking habit is the whole business model. A single groomer with a converted van costing between $50,000 and $80,000, outfitted with water tanks and a grooming table, can run a full book of recurring clients without ever hiring help. One groomer in Texas described keeping a subscription list of around 90 regular dogs, each paying for a repeating monthly slot, which alone covered her van payment within the first year. AI booking apps now handle the reminders and rescheduling automatically, so the groomer's only job is the grooming. Margins run high because there's no rent. The storefront is the driveway. It's slow to build, but once that recurring client list hits triple digits, the calendar basically runs itself. Number 8, Ice Vending Machines. These are the boxy machines outside gas stations that spit out bagged ice for a couple dollars, and they might be the most hands-off business on this entire list. One machine costs between $40,000 and $60,000 installed, and once it's plumbed in and running, it needs maybe 2 hours of attention a week. The real trick is a location contract, a multi-year lease with the gas station or grocery lot where it sits, often locked in for 5 years with automatic renewal clauses. An operator in Florida described running 11 machines across 2 counties, each pulling in around $1,500 a month in the summer season, managed almost entirely through remote sensors that alert him when a bin runs low. No employees, no storefront, just steel boxes quietly making ice and money at the same time. It's not exciting, but an owner who signs enough of those location leases can end up managing a small fleet from a phone. Number 7, Christmas light installation. Every December, homeowners want their roof line glowing without climbing a ladder themselves. And the smart operators in this space don't sell a one-time hang. They sell a full season package that includes installation, maintenance, and teardown in January. Startup cost is surprisingly light, often under $10,000 for lights, clips, and a solid ladder rack. One installer in Georgia described locking in around 250 homes on repeat contracts, meaning clients he never had to resell, just rehang the same lights every November on autopilot. AI route planning software now maps the most efficient neighborhood order, letting 2 guys handle what used to take a 5-person crew. The season is short, sometimes 10 weeks total, but the margins are steep, and repeat customers rarely shop around once they trust the crew with a key to their garage. It's a business that only exists 2 months a year and still pays like it runs 12. Number 6, bookkeeping for trades. Plumbers, electricians, and roofers are great at their craft and terrible at invoices, which is exactly why a bookkeeper who only serves trade businesses can build a business almost entirely on monthly retainers. No inventory, no trucks, no physical wear at all. Just a laptop and a client list that pays the same amount every single month, whether business is slow or booming. One bookkeeper in Arizona described building a roster of 30 trade companies, each paying between $300 and $600 monthly, which added up to a six-figure business she ran alone from a home office. AI bookkeeping tools now handle the categorizing and reconciling automatically, so her actual hands-on time per client dropped by more than half over 2 years. The contract itself is the entire moat. Once a trade owner trusts someone with their books, switching feels riskier than just paying the invoice. Quietly, this might be the highest margin business on the whole list. Quick question: where do you think your old mattress actually goes? Most people assume the dump, but a growing number of cities now require mattress recycling by contract, and that's created a strange little goldmine. Mattress recyclers sign multi-year municipal contracts to process every mattress a city collects, breaking them down into foam, steel coils, and fabric that get resold to separate buyers. Setting up a small recycling operation costs around $100,000 to $200,000 for basic shredding and sorting equipment, which sounds steep until you see the contract math. One operator in California described a 5-year city contract worth close to $800,000, paid out in steady quarterly installments, regardless of how many mattresses actually came in that month. Automated sorting arms now separate the steel and foam without much human labor at all. It's not glamorous work, but a handful of these municipal contracts can turn a small warehouse into a business worth more than most people expect. Number 4, appliance repair. Every washer, dryer, and fridge eventually breaks, and the smartest operators in this space stopped chasing one-off repair calls years ago in favor of home warranty contracts. Insurance and warranty companies pay a flat monthly fee per household for guaranteed repair coverage, and a repair technician who signs onto that network gets a steady stream of calls, without spending a cent on marketing. Startup cost is modest, often under $20,000 for tools, a van, and parts inventory. One technician in Michigan described earning around 60% of his revenue purely from warranty network contracts, with the rest as walk-in overflow. AI diagnostic apps now let him identify the likely part failure from a video call before ever driving out, cutting wasted trips dramatically. It's one of the few trades where a single skilled person plugged into the right contracts can out-earn a repair shop with 5 employees simply by never wasting a trip. Number 3, micromarkets in office buildings. These are the small, self-checkout snack setups replacing old vending machines in office lobbies, and the business model runs almost entirely on facility contracts. An operator signs a multi-year agreement with a building or company to place a market inside their break room, stocks it with a smart fridge and open shelving, and lets employees grab and pay with a tap. One operator in Illinois described managing 18 locations across different office buildings with a single part-time restocker doing the rounds twice a week. AI inventory sensors track exactly what's low and auto-generate the restock list, so nothing gets guessed. Startup cost per location runs around $8,000 to $12,000 for fridges and shelving, and most locked-in contracts run 3 years, renewing quietly unless the building itself changes management. It's one of the few retail formats where the customer, the location, and the payment are all locked in before day one. Number 2, oil change franchises. This one edges into more employees than the rest of this list, but the ownership side can still run remarkably lean thanks to recurring subscription plans. Many oil change chains now sell prepaid plans covering 3 or 4 visits a year, locking customers into that specific location instead of whoever's cheapest that week. A franchise typically costs between $200,000 and $350,000 to open, but a location that sells subscriptions aggressively can fill 60% of its bay time with prepaid customers before the month even starts. One franchise owner in Tennessee described his subscription base alone covering payroll most months, meaning walk-in traffic became pure profit on top. AI scheduling tools keep the bays full back-to-back, minimizing the dead time that kills most shops. The owner rarely touches a wrench. The real job is managing the subscription list and making sure the bays never sit empty. And number one, the one nobody sees coming, traffic cone and barricade rental. Every road crew, parade, and construction site needs cones, barricades, and signage, and almost none of them want to own that equipment outright. Rental companies sign standing contracts with cities, utility companies, and contractors, delivering and picking up equipment on a repeating schedule without ever needing a large crew. One operator in Nevada described holding contracts with 3 separate city public works departments, generating over $2 million a year from a fleet of equipment managed by fewer than 6 employees total. Startup cost is steep up front, often $300,000 or more for enough inventory to service multiple contracts at once. But the equipment itself lasts years and gets rented out again and again. AI routing software plans delivery and pickup loops so efficiently that one driver can service what used to take 3 trucks. It's the most boring object imaginable, an orange cone, quietly generating some of the steadiest recurring revenue on this entire list. Notice the pattern across all 10. The businesses that stay small on staff but big on income, that are almost always built on a signed contract that renews itself, not a hustle that starts over every single day. That's the real unfair edge, more than any robot or algorithm. Which one of these would you actually try running yourself? Drop it in the comments, I read them. And before you act on anything you heard today, do your own digging and talk to someone who knows your numbers. This is a story, not a strategy session. If you like this one, subscribe. There's another boring gold mine waiting next week.